Welcome to Don't Whistle at Night podcast, where Navajo legends echo in the shadows. Darren and Dawn will guide you through the sacred fire of native storytelling, where the old stories breathe, the unknown walks among us, and voices, long hidden, rise to be heard. And remember, don't whistle at night.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Don't Whistle at Night. We are broadcasting live on the United Public Radio Network, 107.7 FM in New Orleans. I'm your host, Don Yazzie. My co-host, Darren Yazzie, will be in any moment. And our guest tonight, is Randy Caveman Yazzie. And they'll be joining us whenever they can. And I'd just like to say hello, everyone. It's nice to see you all. And if you stayed after the show called The Chat, welcome. I am Don Yazzie, the host of this show here on the radio. And if you want to stick around, and we have more shows throughout the week. One of the good shows is Sean Kelly, Into the Night. And also, Rye Boss, Codex of Curiosities, thank you for that intro. Yeah, so how's everybody doing out there? Let's just kill some time till the guest and the co-host show up, shall we? Oh, geez. Okay. Uh-oh. Looks like Randy can't get in his email. Old school, man. Hey, what's up, everyone? Looks like I'm gonna have to call Randy again. Oh, no. Yeah, so how's everyone doing today? I hope everyone's doing fine. What's up, the Cedric Willie? First one. That's right. What's up, Maddie? Yeah, looks like I'm going to have to call Randy here. What's up? Okay. Looks like I'm going to have to give a call, guys. So, it's good to see you all here. Oh, geez. Yeah, so we'll just go on straight on to story time right now, shall we? So, so how's everyone doing out there, first off? The Chat, huh? Yeah, that's a show called The Chat. It's the one of the owners of the radio station. Yeah, that's a show right there. They talk about pretty good topics, ghosts, hauntings, and all that great stuff. Shoot. Come on. All right, waiting for Randy. Um, I'm happy that the storms came through, the rainstorms that put out all the fire. So thankful for that. And okay, hang on, guys. Let me call Randy here. Let's see what's going on.
Yeah.
Hey, how's it going?
All right.
Did you get the email? Oh, I don't know what happened there. So, yeah. Okay. So, yeah, last week we were out in Gallup, New Mexico with my teammate Lee, the Cedric Willie, and he hosted us. Darren and I, we did the episode there, last episode, and the night before that we ran around for a little bit out there on the strange side of Gallup, and we checked this one place where there's a reported skinwalker roaming around the shed, and locals also seen it, and it's one of our teammates' family's area as well. And so we walked around about a mile into the canyon, and we found that structure that the locals say that the witch, the skinwalker, sits inside of that structure and does his witchy things. And so we walked up to that structure. Of course, I whistled, and um, we're just hanging out there. I was on the TikTok live, and the followers on there. We usually do TikTok lives on weekends whenever we're doing boots on the ground. And so I walked out of the structure, and uh, my homie Lee, the Surgic Willie, he was telling me that he hears someone talking to him because he's one of the real gifted individuals out there with supernatural abilities. You know, he's a hand trembler, so you get about 5 of them, 10 of them, then you can definitely clean house. And I think that's one of the goals that we want to do on the Navajo Nation. So yeah, I walked out the structure, and he was telling me that someone's trying to communicate with him, and they're asking him what's his clans. And I looked to the east, and I seen this huge light just parked up in the sky. And I asked him, I was like, "Are you talking to that light right there? I think that's a UFO." And he's like, "No, they're asking me what's my clans." And hey, what's up, Imkin? What's up, Maddie the Baddie? And I asked him, I was like, "Are you communicating to that?" And he's like, "No, no, I think it's a skinwalker." And I was like, "I think that's a UFO." And he was staring at that huge old light in the sky. And he just turns away. He's like, "Oh, I don't care. They don't pique my interest." And I busted out my green laser. I have this really powerful laser that I use all the time. And I shined the laser right at that light, and that light just turned off. So it's one of those normal things that happen a lot on the Navajo Nation. Yeah. And we were cruising around the dirt roads, 3 in the morning. We passed by somebody walking alongside the road, and one of the followers that was watching the live said that they seen something on the other side of the road, which was on my side. Something tall and red standing there, and we didn't see anybody. We just saw that one person there. So it was strange. And as we're cruising, we're getting closer back to the highway, and we seen this huge. Hey, what's up, Audacious Amber? So we seen this huge Milo Aaron. I'm the same way. UFOs are boring. Yeah. So as we're cruising, we've seen this coyote from our 9 o'clock run up over the road, and we've seen another coyote down that way. And yeah, my head trim was like, "Nope, we're not going to cross the coyote's path. No, no, no." So we had to go and backtrack our way and go the long way, which is near Kit Carson's cave. So that's going to be another area we're going to investigate. So a lot of things happen down there in that cave that's pretty bad. That's really bad. So eventually we're going to go in there with some ghost hunting equipment and see what's that all about. There's also a ridge line over there that he shared with us, that the Anasazi ruins, where you would see hands sticking out of the ruins, sticking out the window, like they're trapped inside. Um, oh yeah, yeah. He says you're forgetting the other set of eyes. Yeah, there was another set of eyes on the side of the road that were really huge. When the coyotes were running across the road, that was pretty creepy right there. Oh, hey, what's up, Z Sun Dragon? Hmm. Now I'm like really tempting to break something out now. Shall I share a picture with y'all? That is very strange. Okay. Right here. All right, give me a second. So while we're out and about in Monument Valley area, I I had my night vision spotter, and my spotter is I'm panning the skies, I'm looking around in the skies and seen something strange, something that we could not explain. Hopefully oh man, this one will not do justice. No. Oh hey.
I,
Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Hey Yachts, hey Randy, how are you today?
All right. Let me
Be-
put. Okay. Oh,
Are you good, Randy?
hello.
Oh, can you hear
Can
me?
you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Oh, it took me some time to get on the link. Yeah, it's raining over here with a lot of lightning in my area.
Oh, nice. Wow. All that moisture we really need that moisture for sure.
Yeah, and I have oceanfront property right now.
Any of those horseshoe crabs come out the ground? Because I hear they come out a lot in New Mexico.
Not here. They come out. I'd say about maybe 10 miles east of me, but they don't come out here.
Oh, okay.
We eat everything. That's probably why.
Yeah. Eat everything and marry everything, huh? No, I'm just
Marry
kidding.
everything, anything, and in between too. It's just we're all crazy over here. Me,
Mm,
my puppies, and my cats.
yeah. Exactly. So this is your episode, Randy. I I gotta go back. I forgot to go back to that last episode we had to just make sure we don't go back over the same topics. But I think I'll just let you talk about whatever you want to talk about tonight.
Well, um, yeah, that's about it. And my encounters and what I think about, what I have found out, what I have researched, and just the knowledge that I have about. Mainly, it's the Bigfoot and the Dogman that, and in between cryptids that I know some about. I shouldn't say that I know a lot about all of that. So I think
Mhm.
that's what I'll be talking about.
Okay. Biga.
And I'm chewing too right now. Excuse me.
Biga.
What would you like to start with?
Uh, we can go right into the dog man. Like, what's the most aggressive encounter or story that you ever heard while investigating?
Uh the investigation that I did was with my cousin. He lives about a mile west of me. And hey, Darren.
Hey.
Um, he had told me that he was working on his car, and he heard his little puppy just kind of like squirming and going. "Arr, arr, arr, arr," and he said he was leaning into the front and where the engine is of the car he was working on. And here, he got up and he looked around. He looked first. He looked at his little puppy, and it was just right by his side. And I went, or he looked to the left first, which would be to his west. And then he looked to the right. Just then he seen something, he says. At first he says, Ishit. And he said he saw something. And it kind of like made about maybe 3 more steps and went behind the RV that had his tools. And he walked kind of like trying to find out what it was. And he walked out to it, and it was walking, he said, about maybe 100 feet, 100 feet from where I was, he says. Hey, please come down here, he says. And so I went down there, and then he described it. And he says, this thing is like a werewolf, he says. And like we've seen, werewolves in movies down here on the res all the time. And here he said, but the thing about it is that the head was real huge and the body was a little bit skinnier, but more defined, he says. And the reason why I said it looked like a werewolf is that it really does look like a wolf, he says, on the facial area right here, just, I guess it's real big. It does really look like a wolf. And this is when I got there. And then here, and I told him, was it dark? Kind of like not really black, but kind of grayish. And it looked at you, and then it went down on all fours and started walking like a wolf. I said, and he says, yeah. It just looks like his curled leg, both his legs, they were like walking like a human, but his front hand was almost touching the ground. He says, so, but when he saw me, he got on all fours and he started to trot off fast. And so I said, yeah. And he says, is that the one that goes to your house? I said, yeah, that one. That's the maybe not maybe the same one, but kind of like looks the same. I said, you described it like that. And he says, I almost threw up my heart, he says. And then I just kind of like recaptured my feelings, and I just looked at it, and I was going to run inside. I don't know if they always say that if you run from an animal, then it's going to run after you and eat you, he says. And we both laughed about it. I said, yeah. I said, so what did it do? And he says, well, it kept looking at it. It had a span of about maybe 200 feet from the time it walked up, that being 200 feet to the time it went down. And I kept looking at it, he says. I said, does it have a tail? That's the one I don't know, I said. He says, well, it's a short, stumpy tail. That's what I noticed, he says. I said, oh, okay. So it's not like a German Shepherd tail or a coyote tail. He says, no. It has a short, stubby tail. I say, okay. All I seen was the ones in the window that have looked at me when I was living in a mobile home. And here it just looked in on me, kept looking in on me. And it always sit at my kitchen, from my kitchen window. It will always look at me. And I got that picture on my Facebook site called Hustin's. And you see those eyes and see kind of like that. But anyways, that's what he told me. I said, well, let's go over there. I said, and then he's all kind of like hesitant, afraid. So then he finally, he says, let me carry the screwdriver, he says. So he had a long screwdriver, about maybe 1 foot screwdriver, and he was carrying it. And I said, no, if you don't really try to attack it or try to do things to it, it won't bother you, I said. And then he says, I heard that they were really, really mean. I said, no, 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 no. It just depends on what they're talking about. I said, if they have bothered it, then it would attack. Yes, it's just like a regular animal. It half and half. I said, and then he goes, oh, and then we walked to the edge of that, like I said, that 200-foot mark, where it went downhill. Because we live on a mesa. I live like on a mesa, and he went downhill. And I don't know where it went, but all we seen was just itty bitty tracks that had been, put down, and that was it. And I was going to go down if it was with him, but then he says, no, I'm not going down. And that's what that's what we encountered at one time. But I did see the tracks. And in fact, those, the tracks that I have found, I found some really small ones in front of my house. That's when I was still building my house. And I looked at it, and that was kind of like the same thing, kind of like has a heel, but then has like the paw print. So that's what we've seen. But these are huge. I'd say about maybe 13, 14, 15 inch. I didn't have no tape measure either, so I didn't measure it. I just put my foot up against it, and my foot is with the shoe from heel to toe is like 12 inches. And this was still like maybe 2 to 3 inches more. So I just measured it that way. And it looks like it just went down below, minding its own business. It just trekked right beside them. And usually, as he says, something always comes and looks inside my window. I say, yeah, they do that. It looks inside the windows. And it usually looks in the window where they're comfortable to look in. If they're tall, then they're going to do that. I said, and they'll look in. And here, my mobile home window is at 7 foot. And I always say that. And I made the mark and I said, oh, this is how tall Shaquille O'Neal is. So it's marked at 7 foot. And I have just have encountered that one down at my cousin's house. But on the other side, for me, they have always have gone to my house and look in the window and jiggle on the door, the doorknob, and then that's what they do. And then or they'll go around. But all of a sudden, this is where it kind of like goes into the spiritual realm. People say it's a bad omen to have a wolf cry out from right beside your house and it runs away. If it's like that, then you need a ceremony done. If you don't believe in it, then I guess it just happens. But that has has gone on, just regular, once a month or something like that. And here, I guess it would be sitting on the west side of my house when I moved in. It would do that, sit in there, and when the dog, either the dogs or the cats scare it, or they're easily scared. So they say that, woo, you can hear all the way down, from my house to the edge of the mesa is probably about maybe 50 feet. So you can hear it all the way down. So that's what I have encountered a lot. And it's been going on since 2010. And I would run out and I just would look around, walk behind the house, curse, and that's about all I could do because I only have a 22 gun, so a 22 rifle. Don't know. I'll probably just tickle it. So I just see it like I just done that. And that's those are my encounters and all of that. They would usually look inside the window aside from Bigfoot. These things I've had pictures of it, and some of them they would like kind of. It's not like they growl to show their teeth. It's like you know how a Navajo is amazed at something, they open their mouth and they're all looking at you. They're like that, and I make fun of it. And I say that this is a regular Navajo, has its mouth opening, just looking inside the window. So then some people they say there's probably a Yanny that comes to visit you. I say, okay, then if it's a Yanny, that's a tall Yanny. So that's what I tell them. Or I just snap back with it. It has to be a 7 foot tall Shaquille O'Neal Yanny that's walking around out there, like that with a mask. And then they say, you're just seeing things. So, okay, if you see it, then you know what you're talking about. That's the difference between believing it and also not believing it. If you've seen it and you know what they look like, then you know what they look like because they're just right here, right in front of you when you imagine it. And that's how it is for the dog man. And those are the main ones they call ma'itso. That's what I mean. That's what I notice. These elderly folks, the ones that are real old in their 70s and 80s and 90s, the ma'itso. It's not the wolf that they're talking about. The wolf, they call it ma'itso. Shapaha, which means the gray wolf, which we have all the time. The ones that walk around here like four-wheelers against these big dogs. That's not it. But these are like dark gray and have real big heads. They kind of like walk like a man sometimes. They can even stand up straight, erect, if they're looking at something, just like a bear. And then they go back, they go down, and they'll run off. And what I notice when they run is they don't really touch the ground. They'll be stooped over and kind of like just run. They don't touch the ground with their front, either their paws or their hand. They don't touch the ground. Oh, I'm getting dark, huh?
Oh, yeah, just a little. We can still see you though.
How about now?
Yeah.
And so I don't know if they touch the ground or they don't. But what I have seen is like their hands are like they're like folded like this, and they stoop and they run real fast like that. I tried it and I scratched my nose, like, so that's very hard to do. So I've done that. I try to reenact what I have seen, and I always say, I only talk about the things that I have seen, and then all of that. And so I just did that, and then, like I said, I hit the ground and all that. I try to reenact the whole situation when I get home. And then whoever sees me are like, oh, what are you doing? You're trying to act like a monster or what? It's like that. So they've they would make their own decisions on it and all of that. But then other people, they would come in, hey, come check my house. There's this thing that keeps coming around, stuff like that. I said, what do you want me to do with it? Don't you have a rifle? And you say, yeah. Well, then shoot in that direction. Yell out first. I shoot first and ask questions later. So I tell them that. And some of them, they don't come back. Some of them say, hey, we need your presence out here. So that's the encounters. But way when I was young, we used to bet. Me and my cousins, we used to bet. You would say, there's a maitso that made a house again on a certain side of our field, just a mound, and it's lane under there, and this will be like maybe right at noontime, and in the summertime, and here I would we would bet each other who can touch the hut that it built, and here. Some of them, they would just say yeah, yeah, yeah. They act all tough, but then when they go down a certain way, then they just turn around. They come back and say no. I don't want to be eaten. But then the people, they'll be like tell Randy he's real fast. He's like a horse, and he says that Speedy Gonzalez is jealous of him because he runs so fast. So they would tell me. Then I go over there, and it'll be on like this is in Arizona, in mini farms. Here there's a wash, and the drop is like maybe 7 feet, and here maybe 8. And here they would just put some money together. I would tell them, hey, $5 from each one of you, and then they all place their bets. And then they tell me, you have to touch it, shake it, or make it say something. I say, okay. Then I kind of quietly jog over there, bing, 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 bing. And I don't make that much noise until I get there and I see it. And it's usually like just laying down, like in a fetal position. And here I shake on it. "Ah!" And then take off. Of course, I'll be thinking I don't want to be eaten either. I would take off when I say that, and then it would kind of get scared, kind of like jolt. And I would hear a huh, or a huh, or something like that. And I'd race real fast back to where those guys are standing on top of the wash. Run back over there and just tell them, this is what it said and all that. And then they'll be laughing. Everybody be laughing. But I would make some money as you know, doing things like that. And it also, I don't know if it was that, but it might be the other one that opened the door on me at times. But it would just how should I would be watching Star Trek. Star Trek used to come on 10:30 after the news, Final Frontier and everything, Captain Kirk at that time. And then I would sit to a 6-inch screen that we used to have where my dad was so cheap. And here we used to sit real close to it. And it had a small cord, so the only light source or the electricity source was right by the door. And this thing would open the door about 8 inches. And I could see from the reflection of myself to that, the eyes on that, would be way up there. And here, it would open the door. It did that so many times, and I thought it was one of my cousins because we always used to scare one another at times like that. So I thought it was them. And I was going to jerk that door open to see if it was really him or it's just somebody playing around. So I would just leave it and just look at it until that one time, I guess one of the dogs followed it in. It was inside like an addition that was all boarded up, all the door and everything. The door had gotten stuck at, just before we would come in. It's just the size of going in sideways. And I guess it crept in. And a dog followed it in. And they got into a fight right in there. And all I heard was, I didn't say that. I didn't hear no, ow, help, or anything like that. It took that door's hinges off and put that door kind of like, it just, I guess it just yanked it open or something like that and put it to the side, and it took off. By that time, I was startled big time. And I opened the door, and the thing I seen was when it came, it almost just jumped inside the house with me. And it's just strands of hair, little bit strands of hair that came in with the doorknob where it was standing, and it closed it back up. So I had to jiggle that doorknob again and open it, and then I ran out afterwards. And from the gloom of our aunt, which lived about maybe 300 feet away, the street light, that was the only street light. And here I could see a whole bunch of dogs running towards the east. That's where the wash was. And here they were following that thing. That thing was hunched over. I could see in the gloom that dark figure. It wasn't standing up, it was down, and it was running like a bear. And it just jumped over, just down below. And the dogs just stopped and started barking from there. And I ran inside because kind of got scared. I ran inside, and I just told my brother, which was sleeping in the other room. And he comes out and he says, "Oh, what is it?" And I said, "Hey, Boogeyman almost, ran in with me." And all that. And says, "You're just imagining things. Go to sleep." And that Star Trek is probably where you're getting all this imagination, he says. So I would say, okay, had my curse words with him and closed his door. And he went back to sleep. And I watched the rest of the rest of the Star Trek. And I went to sleep. And that was it. That's mainly the dog man right there. And it has like as I would describe it, it always would be like like that. That's what I mean. A Navajo looking at you, with its mouth open. So it would always be like that, and the curvature of its nose is kind of like uh kind of skinny from here as it elongates, and it kind of flares out at the tip. And the teeth, I only seen the incisors. That's it. And that's captured from my window. And also the hair. The hair would be kind of like just how I don't know, I forget what the heavy metal band is called. Remember Slash is in there? Slash, the way Slash's hair is, it kind of covers his face, kind of like right here. And then it has all the hair on it. But these dogmen, they don't wear hats, like that. So they, they that's what I see. That's what I have seen. And it's like, wow, this is something different. And the face, the jawbone is kind of large, kind of like just like a big wolf with a piggy nose. That's the way that I have seen that, with the hair like Slash in the old times, when they were playing. I'm not really into music, so I forgot, but I used to jam down on that band. But anyways, that's what I have seen, and that's on that's just on Dogfoot. Dogfoot, Dogman. So that's about it. Got any questions?
Oh yeah, yeah. That's pretty descriptive right there, and I got a good imagination. Thank you for um giving that out there, giving that information out there for us. I got a question. How many investigators overlook because they ignore indigenous knowledge on the Dogman and Bigfoot?
A lot. A lot. I should just say a lot. I wouldn't give
Mhm.
no numbers on it, but there's a lot. Meaning that they don't believe it?
Yeah, they don't believe it, or they think it's too much woo, or they just throw out what we gotta say. I'm pretty sure they've done that
Yeah.
to you a lot.
I'm being very skeptical about it. Yeah. My brothers, some of my brothers are like that. I got a big family, so my older brothers are the ones that are like skeptical on it. You're just seeing things, they say. You're just saying that just to get attention. I'm like, what am I going to get attention for? I don't even say things, or I don't tell you guys things until I experience it. So then, then they're like that. Just like for my brother. Well, my brother, he's a road man. There's a difference between a road man and a medicine man. And he said one time, "There's always this real big black stallion that's following my horses around, but it never catches my horses," he says. And I said, "Okay." And then he told me two or three times. And I said, "Well, next time run out and go spotlight it, buy a spotlight." He says, "Okay. I don't want to waste my money on any spotlight too, then it's all being cheap." And here, I guess that happened. This is probably the fourth time. He ran outside when those horses were running again right by his house. And here he spotlighted, and it wasn't a black stallion, it was a Bigfoot. So that was it. He got scared. He said he just ran back inside, and he's just standing at the door, locked the door, and like that. And then he calls it a Yeti was chasing my horse. He said, "A Yeti?" Yeah, he says, Yeti. Don't you recognize the name? He says, "Oh, yeah, from what I read or look on social media, Yetis are somewhere way across the world." No, he says. Remember, our grandpa used to tell us that, you know, we seeded a lot of overseas, like that we're the same people of those some of those Asian people and Tibetans and Mongolians. He says, I said, yeah. And he says, well, that's the reason why I'm calling it Yeti, he says. And then he turns around, but we call him Yeti over here, he says. Yeti. Oh, okay. You're not supposed to say that during the summer, I said. And he says, well, I'm just trying to tell you, he says. So that conversation ended, and we found out it was Bigfoot, and he's seen it. And to this day, he doesn't, say, yeah, right. Yeah, right. He doesn't say that no more. And like I said, you have to see it to believe, really understand what it looks like or how it walks. And like that. And just like, let's go with the Bigfoot. Bigaya.
Mm.
Bigfoot, they used to live down below where I live. It's called Chaco Wash. And they used to live down there. And they used to kind of like go up and down, like migrate here all the way down to where the Chaco Wash goes back into the San Juan River, or all the way up to APS generating station. There's that Morgan Lake that cools down the generator, and I guess some of the water that they don't have no use for it. They kind of have let it go through the spillway, and they go up and down. And when they need to have a laugh or something like that, then they come to my house. And they're the ones that were, a nuisance. It was like this young one, real young one, which I thought was a dog laying down. And here I lassoed it, but it moved so fast that I only caught its foot, its right foot. It sat back down just like a human being. When it turned, it was laying down like this. And when I lassoed it, it went through the lasso, but I only caught the foot as I dallied up over here, I only caught the foot, and it sat back down, and it took off the rope, and it took off again. And I was standing there. And I was saying, what the hell was that? And when it took off on foot, on two legs. But it was still small, about maybe 4 foot. That was the one that was stealing my 4-way horse corn. And that's what I found out. They would chew it all up in 1 month, or not 1 month, one night. They emptied out a 50-pound bag of horse feed. So that's the Bigfoot. I bet you, they send in the little one, and it hides. It's good at hiding. All that blends in with the shadows. And when there's nothing, and there's nothing going inside my house, nothing going on, then the big ones come in, and then they finish everything off. And so I brought it in, and then they started jiggling my front door. So those were more of a nuisance. And people say, oh, it was aggressively encountering me. No, 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 no. You and I, Darren, and any Navajo or any native would think that being aggressive is when you start throwing hands. We all know that. Other than that, it's just talk, or it's just, barking away like puppies. It's that's all it is. And then being aggressive. No, I that's what I tell them. No, it wasn't aggressive. It was trying to get in my house, but it was aggressively getting into your house. It was trying to, I don't know, I don't know past aggressiveness, All I know is as a native, you throw hands, that's when you're aggressive. So that's 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 what I used to, tell people. But with that, we I started I went as far as putting a latch and a padlock inside my right on the door from inside. Then I would in the morning. At that time, I had a wife. In the morning, I would pull out the pull out the padlock, and then my wife would go to work. And that was that on that side. And within all of that, I used to take care of my nephews and nieces at certain times. When they came over, they would always be, having a uh, having an argument. You stole my potato chips. You did this to me. Where's my candy? And stuff like that. And here they would always argue about it. And I left this right here, and then some parts of, if you leave the loaf of bread out, that loaf of bread would be missing the next morning. Then I would get on them thinking that it was them. Until, one night, me and my wife went to bed, and it's somewhere around 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, something like that. Here, I felt a real sharp pain on my pinky. And from out of sleep to fully awake was probably 1/10 of a second because of that pain. And I jumped up and, kind of like when you jump up, you kind of look upwards and kind of find out where you're at. When I did that, my wife screamed out, and there was this black figure that was standing right there that turned and jumped the corner of our bed, went into the hallway, made a right, and the back door was just right there. So it just flung that back door real hard. Boom.
Wait, this thing
And
came inside your house.
inside.
Wow. And isn't that just bring chills down your spine? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. How far did it have to go to get to your bed from the doorway?
Not that far. I would say about maybe 12 to 15 feet. Because our bedroom was right by the back door.
Mhm.
And it just, it was standing on the north side. The bed was east to west, elongated. And here it jumped. It was leaning forward. As I've seen it, it was leaning forward to the west. What you call like this, it's standing like that. And when I said, "Ow!" Yelled out, it turned around, jumped the corner of that bed where the entrance to our bedroom was. And it made a right about maybe 3 steps. That's where the back door was. 3 30-inch steps. So it was like, do, 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 do. That's what I heard. And it flung that door open. Boom, boom.
So was this thing hunched over compared to a house? If it was standing up straight, it would have to hunch down to get through the doorway or anything like that?
I would say the ones that visited me were like 6 foot to about 7 feet.
Hmm.
So inside the room, those mobile homes, they're like maybe 8 feet?
Yeah.
But it was leaning over. It was like hunched over.
Mm-hmm.
And it did that. And I real fast put on my slippers and ran out after it like I'm going to do something. And I jumped out also. Because the door swung really hard against the outside wall, and it kind of clicked back in, but it didn't click that much. And here I pushed it and it flung open again. And I jumped down and I ran towards the south, because that's where I heard the like the horse running like that. Yeah.
Oh, before I lose service again, these footprints that you mentioned about the dog man. Strangely enough, we seen them back at the house too. I happened to tell one of the Don and another member of the team. I see weird footprints here every once in a while, and they have that dog, and they have the elongated foot to the heel. It's so weird that you can just look at it and say that's something else. That's not human. So and even strangely enough, where I live, there is a wolf sanctuary right there, Candy Kitchen. So you did mention that, and so in these Candy Kitchen, this wolf sanctuary is about maybe 4 miles away. But on certain nights, you can hear them howl. So, well, that's a weird coincidence too. Tell me, what other? Do you have any stories of the lake out there in Farmington? Because we did go out there one night and we did catch a weird gurgling howl. It was such a weird sound. We caught it right when we got off TikTok Live is when we recorded it. When we were at the launch party for the magazine, we did mention that to Jose. Shout out Jose, yes man. So that's one of the weirdest things that we heard too. And I kind of kicked myself in the ass because we're just right there and we didn't go check it out for some reason. We just decided to just leave it alone. We're so close. But hey, maybe next time. But yeah, it's nice to have you back on, Randy. And the next time we'll go out, I would like to go check out where you had your becoming a man. You got chased by the Bigfoot, and
that one's in mini
horse
farms.
space. Yeah, that one's horse space. Yeah,
mini farms.
Some of these areas I would like to go, especially where you and your brother got dragged out of the house, and stuff like that. I would like to check them out and pull some measurements and stuff like that. Not to be a nerd or anything like that, but just it's good to have a good picture of where these events happened. Even though they were so many years apart. So even would like to go see where that dog man's house was. Was check out furniture. So maybe
I'll when we get the time, I'll show you guys. And if there's remnants around, you'll see it. And if there's anything that we can find out there, then all of that, then we can find it too. But like you said, it's been so many years, and it's about 40 years, and it's like that. And so I just look back on those sometimes. They really The ones that live down below, I watch them sometimes. Sometimes I just crawl on my house and sit at the tip. And I have those 2070 binoculars. So it brings them real close. So I watch them. And you know how when grandma is in a hurry, she's not going to sit down and flip the fry bread over. She's not going to do that. She's going to stand straight, but only bend at the waist and flip that fry bread. I noticed that these Bigfoots, they do that. They bend at the knees. Not at the knees, at the waist. And they pick up something. And then they walk off. They really act like us. They really, in fact, I always think we probably have picked up on those as we're, encountering them. And there's all kinds of stories on top that I didn't know. And here I would ask my mother and say, "Oh, your uncle shot at one over here and it was hiding behind a wagon and all that." And I'm like, okay. Stuff like that. And just like I said, my cousin brother, he's saw it, got scared, didn't want to go down, and all of that. Those are the dog man. Those the dog man. But for me, I don't know why. I just think that I moved to where the trail was, because where I live from the Chaco Wash to going towards the San Juan River is a narrow access, kind of like it moves in like this, and I just seem to live right here. So I just think that I moved to where their traffic was. That's why they would come and visit me. It would always be at night. There's even, there had been, I don't know who has the most what do you call it? All the mud in the arm and the thumb and all of that from my window as I was doing my homework. And I guess it used to look at me from there. And I would just hear at that time I had a husky. It would just howl all the time. Then I would go outside and say, "Hey, go to sleep." And it wasn't afraid of anything. It was a kind husky. So I bet you it pet it and all of that too. So it would just howl. Those kind of things, have happened around my house. And like I said, just in the traffic way, where they now would find a whole bunch of tracks. I'd say west of me all the way down to the south of me, which all that down below is Chaco Wash. They would come up and just be in there. I've had a picture as to where there was one I put my motion camera at the window, and here there was one that was sitting away from my house. There's a little one that's, I guess it's playing because it was, like that. And this is all in the dark. But, I don't know how the camera caught it. These things were much darker than the dark. And there was another one that was sitting like you're sitting out there on the beach with your one leg bent up and other one straight out, and with his arm backwards, like kind of leaning back. And as I looked further left, I had a big white four-wheel that was at 6 feet on the cap top, maybe even more, a little bit, 6'2". But there was one standing from behind it, and it had a real big log that it was holding, it was holding. And it looked it made my truck look like a little toy. It was kind of like from midwaist to the chest all the way up, and it was standing right there holding the the whole big bark or something that it had. And that one was looking straight into the window. And that's what I had seen. I had my pictures had taken. And then another one, which this was, I'm not good at photography, like I say. I put my motion camera straight against, kind of like 2 feet away. 2 feet away. I set up my tripod past the sink, my kitchen sink, and here's the window. And here, I put it straight forward to it, and it had made a shot, but the glare from the flash covered majority of the face. And it was this way, all on this side, on both sides. You can see it real clear. And I keep kicking myself for that one. If I had maybe skewed the camera a little bit, I probably would have gotten a real good picture looking inside my window. And that was clear too. It had the flash with it and all of that. And I always kick myself for that picture. And then also the one that I had moved that motion camera on the sink again, kind of leaning back. Yeah, well, a whole bunch of washcloth in the back, and then put it like that. And here, one had walked up to it, had a fine hair, just fine hair, but it looked like Atlani, the drunkard that had been beaten up so many times that it's got big lips on one side and there's a real small slit lip on the other side, and it looked like that, but it had real big round eyes, and it was looking straight at the camera too. And I guess during the flash it moved, and you know how when that picture is taken, it's like boom, 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 and at the end it has the full picture of it. I have that one, taking a picture of that one. And then as I was building my house, when I still used to live in the mobile home, I guess they used to hide from the corner of that house to look straight. It's kind of like maybe 10 feet away. And here, there was one that was looking like, what do you call it? Those orcs on Fellowship of the Ring, those monsters or whatever they are. It looked like that. The one that was like kind of hunched down like this. Then there's another one on top that was like peeking over like that. And I would always show it to my wife, and my wife would, get scared. We should move away from here, she would say. And I tell them, no, this is where I want to live and pick this place. So that was it. And then also I used to find real big tracks just right outside my doorstep. And then that one time it had I guess it cut its hand on the trimming of the mobile home, and a whole bunch of blood spurted out on the outside wall. in the morning when I walked out, I could see all that blood right there. But I could only see tracks leading away, the droppings, and it went from my doorway, which was on the north, all the way south. And it went, it disappeared somewhere. So I gave that to another researcher. You guys probably know her, Brenda Harris. So I gave that to her, and I told her, go find out what it is. And I bet you it'll say human, I said. And I don't know what she did with it. I never heard back from her. And she has her own thing going, and I'm just over here. And we don't really keep in contact anymore because like I said, she has her own living to do. So myself, I found that out and all that. And then when I erected the walls of my house, man, it used to stink like roadkill in there. Because at nights it would get cold, and I guess it'll traffic in and then stay there. I don't know how many of them will come in, but it used to stink. And then I would let it air out, finally put everything up and put the doors on there and locked it up. So that was it. And then, just all of this, that was happening constantly for about 10 years. And I started to go out. I say, I don't go to you guys' house. I'll be talking away when, I'm out in the field. I don't track you guys, or I don't bother you guys at your house. How about I start doing that? And then I would carry a kind of like a big stick, a 2-inch big stick. I'd be walking like Moses or something like that. And then be going that way, going down to Chuckawash. And before I would approach any kind of like a tree or something like that, I'd take a picture. And here they were, 3 of them, all looking out, daring me to come to them. And I used to have this half German, half coyote dog, female. She would spot it too. And she would always bark at it. And we would run over there. They would take off. And did that. And then one turned around while the other 2, they were still running. And they were like mid-size, about 6 foot. And I whacked that branch real hard on that tree. And I whacked. And that thing, that scared it. And it took off again. And then I noticed, I was feeling like, that's what they do. They tap on wood, they knock on wood and all of that. So if you really whack it, then that means something different. Either they be doing location or keeping an eye on you. And that's why those knockings are occurring. These are the things that I started to find out as I was following them around. This was all around, my house, all of that. And when I went to mini farms, me and my brother, we slept in the hogan that's still there. Here we got the door jiggled at night. And he says, "What's that?" And I said, That's your buddy Bigfoot. But I just said, that's Husteen, meaning I call it Husteen, the hairy man from the mountain. So I just called it Husteen. And he says, go out there and chase it away. He says, how about you? Stand behind me, hold me. If it grabs me, you grab me too. You'll be holding on to me. And when I yell out, you just yank me back. So we did that, but all we heard was just clish, clish, clish sound of the foot, like that. In mini farms and in hogback area and mini farms area. That's where all my encounters were. So all of that, even when I was going to school, that's another thing. My buddy, he used to stay at my house, and he says, "Hey, there's somebody looking at us with a mask from the window." He says. I said, "Oh, who's that?" Now I'll be looking at the window and nothing. And then I start doing my homework again. He says, "There it is again." And he's just laying on those roll-out beds, those roll-out mattresses, and he'll just be looking towards the window. And that went on for about maybe a week. And I said, "Well, then, if it does that again, let's get ready. Leave your shoes on. I'll leave my shoes on. And when you see it going again or looking in again, then real fast we'll jump out the door and all that. We'll just put the door up against the frame and just do that. Plus, the addition door was already jacked up, so it was all one big hollow door. Anyways, that happened, and he said it again. It's looking at us from the window again. I said, "Are you ready?" He says, "Yeah." So we just bolted out real fast. I went around the long way. He went around the short way. And when we met up, we heard, see, the window was on the north side. We heard that clackety clack noise going towards the northeast where all the bushes are, going that way. And then he asked me, if it was your cousin, because I know your cousin is the one that's real good at good at scaring people. If it was him, his house is towards the west. Why is he going towards northeast? So I don't know. And then I told him about something almost jumped inside the house with me. So he got scared and he moved off. Like, I just kept trying to tell him, "Hey, stay with me." But then I forgot about it after that again. But in the morning times, over there in mini farms, we would have the door open, wide open, like that. And then when somebody like my sister comes in, my sisters, they stayed in a different room, all locked up, and you know how women are. Get all locked up and tucked away. But when they come in, they're like, "Oh, it smells like the roadkill. What'd you kill?" "Nothing. I just went to sleep." "Oh, it's probably your feet," they say. And I was like, "I clean my feet. What do you think I am?" And all of that. So we used to say that.
So after all these events, did you ever think about laying a trap for them? Not to sound so home alone, but just put a hot piece of current on the doorknob or anything like that. Do you ever think about doing anything like that just to make sure?
I I I put a long time ago when I was taking automotive in high school. They they showed me how the points work. They used to click together like that, and that's how it created spark. It went from one side to the other, and that's how when the spark was made, it went to the spark plug. That's how it was made for it. But then my auto shop teacher showed me how to use it and put it on a door, and I connect that to the battery, and every once in a while, I would turn it. I would turn that distributor, and it would go tish, 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 tish. And then at one time when I did that again, I guess it was starting to hold on to jiggle the door. And it went, and then it went, ah! And then it took off. I got scared too. I was startled, like, what the heck? So then I just ran over there, opened the door, and that was it. Nope, nothing.
Hmm.
Then and I did do that. And then for this one, I never did, but I did put like um a pitchfork sticking up or something laying on the wall where something bumps into it and it slides out
Mhm.
out of the way. It makes that sound. Or I will place an apple. I used to have a 9-foot T-post on the east side of my house, and here I will put an apple way up there. If it's taken, then that whatever it was, Bigfoot, Dogman, lions, tigers, and bears, and then if it was missing, one of those was around. Usually it's Bigfoot. So I used to do that. And that's how I knew that they were around. But other than that, I would just run out real fast, yelling, ah, horses, dogs, cats, and they'll all freak out and just disappear. I mean, probably the creature that's outside, the husky is probably outside, probably did that. And the way that they hide too, they'll hide behind a little bush and just push up, kind of like walk, push up, walk, and then walk back, and then take off somewhere else. That's what I noticed too, because that's what I came upon on the south side of my house. There was this real big, tall husky that was standing right there, and then all of a sudden it jumped down, and I was looking at it. I was looking at it. Then I started walking that way. I walked up to that little bush, and it was already way at the edge. That side on the south side is like longer, about maybe 500 feet. It would stand up over there and take off down below. Or at night, I would walk out. Uh, I used to have some firecrackers too. Those black cats. Throw it outside. Then when the one starts to pop, that's when I yank the door open. And then there'll be like maybe 10 or 12 that pop at the same time. And then I just say, if I catch you, I'm going to boil you underground. I'm going to steam you. I bet you your meat tastes real good. I say that all in Navajo. I say that. And then they would, I would hear nothing. In fact, I started saying that more and there was nothing. So I started to, kind of think that they probably do understand us. What we talk about, all of that. AD.
Andy, we got a question from Carla Washington, 3069. She says, Caveman, have you ever seen a centaur?
Centaur, no. I never
Okay.
seen a centaur. They talk about it across the river on the other side, on the north side of the San Juan River. They talk about it, but I've never seen one on this side.
Mhm. And we got another question from Gerald Benali, 8722. Caveman, what time of day or night do you typically see them?
Towards the evening, sometimes when it starts to get cool, one just so happens to walk way on the south side of where all the bushes are. I've seen one couple times. Other than that, it would be somewhere around from 12 o'clock to about 4 o'clock at night.
So, what makes you think this area is so, odd? Such an odd area. They got so much stuff going on just in this. It's almost border town, between Farmington to Chippewa. So, they got your centaurs on one side, your Bigfoot, your Dogman. I think they even mentioned little
Little
trolls,
people, yeah.
little people. Yeah, you name it.
Gargoyle.
Gargoyles.
Gargoyle.
That's my next question. But go ahead there. Sorry.
I remember reading something about a large UFO incident that happened in Farmington. It's been maybe for my father's time, but I think it was written in the newspaper. You ever hear anything about that mass UFO sighting in Farmington?
They always say when I used to do roustabouting for one of the companies in Bloomfield, every time we went to Aztec, they would say, "Oh, that's where that UFO crashed." And I trying to look over there, like, where is there, like one is still sticking out or something like that, part of it. I'd be trying to look over there, nothing. But they always say that right there, always the same place. Everybody knew about it except me.
Is this place open to the community, or is it blocked off nowadays?
It's open, but the rangers will discourage you from being there.
Well, sounds like a live episode right there. We'll go check it out.
Right. Before we get into the gargoyle question, we have a question from Robert Montoya, 9996. Caveman, any S. Walker stories? Yenad Loshi stories?
Oh man, don't get me into those. We're gonna sit up all night with that one. All that. Maybe we'll save that for later. We'll save that for later.
I was gonna bring that up about
that one.
The cave that we went to earlier. It's kind of it's notorious in its own right. We did capture something going out there. We talked to another Bigfoot expert. He called it an alien. Like, what the heck? Like, I don't know. Well, I don't know if you've seen that picture, Randy.
I'll send it to him. I'll send it to him. There's a secret base not too far up the way. So Will Jevening could be right. He's the one that said maybe it's an alien, but I'll send it to you because we have no idea what we're looking at. The trail cam caught it. We got a good question from the Cedric Willie 8381. Caveman, do the trolls really take the canals?
Yeah, all of them do. All of them do. That's a trackway.
How would you describe how they look?
The trolls?
Yes. Yeah.
The trolls, they all look different. The main thing that I noticed from all of them trolls, is they got longer noses. Some of them are just straight noses. And then they're all different, but I would say the base color of them is gray. Some of them would have like had faces like Kiss, the band Kiss. They have like black hair and all of that, all of that, trying to maybe disguise themselves or something. That's what I'm thinking. Those are the ones that hang around the San Juan River on the north side. I took pictures of them from the south side, and they're like they kind of like walk around like that movie, I forget what it's called, from the Fellowship of the Ring. Remember the little guy kind of talks like that. Anyway, yeah, that one. They kind of walk like that. They kind of not really on all fours or either. They kind of like they're kind of like upright, but they're like hunchback. That's what they look like. on that.
Now tell us, what's the weirdest, incident that happened out there that you recorded or you've been through, besides your centaurs and all that stuff? What stories was told to you, that you made you like, what the heck is that? What could that be?
Like an encounter?
Yeah, it could be yours or someone that told you a story that happened.
I guess this goes for a lot of people here, but for mine, sometimes I like to sleep outside, whether it's cold or just enjoying the night breeze in the summertime. And I placed my dogs, and I'll tell you about that, all around me. And I was sleeping on the bed of the truck. And next thing you know, there's this thing that's looking down at me, holding on to, the quarter panel, just looking down at me. And I looked up at it. Didn't know what it was, but the hair was hanging down. I didn't see the face. It was all dark. And then I just rolled over. Then I woke up thinking, what the hell was that? But the second one that I would say that freaked me out was, I should put this on the first. I was watching this good movie called Quest for Fire. You guys know what that is, right? The Caveman movie. I was watching that. And the movie was over. And I was laying on the couch. And the couch was east to west. The TV was north to south. This is inside my living room. There's a window right above the couch that I was laying on. And I watched it and I was like, ooh, yeah, hey, rooting for the caveman, like that. And I turned around, I shifted myself, I got on my back. And here's this real big silhouette that covered my whole window with the head at the tip, kind of at the window top. And its eyes were just listening. And it startled me. It shocked me. Whoa. I just turned around real slow with my blanket. Real slowly, I just covered my head because I got scared because it was just right there at my foot. That's where the window was. And it was standing right there. And here the glare from the street light is behind it. So that big silhouette was just right there. It was just dark. So then I thought, I don't know how long it's been standing there. So I pushed rewind and replay. I just did that and it started all over again. That movie. And since I already seen the movie and being scared kind of knocked me out and I went to sleep. The next morning when I woke up, it was gone. So I went back behind the window and I had found a 14-inch footprint. Two of them just standing right there. Just placed, boom. And it was standing right there. So that freaked me out big time. And I thought about it
And
for some time.
one final question for me. why do you think these Bigfoot like picking on you? Well, just let's go see what Randy's up to and just sit there and watch you like a kid watching a cartoon or something, just so through a window. Why do you think that is? Why do you think you have so many encounters with these things? And
one thing I used to do before we got electricity and water out here was, I had built an outhouse on the south side of my trailer, and oh,
we lost Randy right there.
Oh, maybe his phone died, huh? Oh no!
Oh man, another cliffhanger, dude. Another cliffhanger.
Man,
you gotta leave the audience with the pull out the thread right there.
Yep, pull the plug on us. Just left us in time. Well, hopefully he comes back on.
Yeah, I guess that'll be a part 3, huh, to that one. But wow, I know Randy. He got a lot of encounters, a lot of interesting stuff to talk about, and
can't wait for the skinwalkers.
We haven't cleared the plate yet. So
we have never heard. Yeah. We only heard one story, skinwalker story. He told us that's when he was on investigation, cross paths. That was it. So we don't know what he's gonna share with us on that. So I'm kind of excited.
Yeah. So when he tells us, you guys will all know. So the reaction that we give you guys would probably be legit. But he did warn us. He did warn us when we first met up with Randy. So. Hey, still a good show, man. I freaking love it.
Oh yeah. This happens. Yeah, Farmington is an area that we probably still need to go back and keep picking at it, because we captured quite a few things there, and it's only giving us more questions.
Right. And one thing that some words of wisdom that he gave us too was, if you go looking for something, don't yeah, got the dogs there.
Oh, there you go.
So one thing he told us was, you guys go looking for something, don't be afraid and don't be intimidated. You guys find something else. There's always more questions. The rabbit hole is deep.
Yep. Especially that trolls too. The trolls. Oh, here he goes. Hey.
I was scared there. Those aliens. When people talk about aliens, all I say is, I'm gonna take off now. I don't want to be probed. So, yeah. I don't think I caught the end of your question, Darren.
Oh, Darren, you're on mute.
No, kind of slipped my mind. I kind of got lost away. Just a little excitement at the cliffhanger. So, tell us, Randy. What do you think about the people that listen to you? I'm pretty. You got a pretty good. You're pretty much a celebrity. I know when we first met you, Don, he was really nervous. Like, wow, meeting a legend right here. What do you think of yourself when people think of you like that? I know I met one, the Paranormal Rangers. It's really exciting to meet someone like that. You watch him on YouTube and you see him on TV, and then you see the guy eating Chinese food like a normal person. Like, what do you think about that? How do you picture yourself when people come up to you?
The thing I always have said is, if the Rangers get involved, then I will step back. All of that, which they did. I really commend both Rangers. I really commend them on their research, and I really enjoy what they have to bring forth also.
Mm.
And it's somewhere where, I would tell a story, they might not know about it, or they tell a story and then I would not know about it and stuff like that. But majority of the things that that we talk about, myself and the Navajo Nation Rangers, they they're like together, because there were a couple rangers that used to come out here and investigate my area. Where did it go? And then the fish and wildlife guy will come out and and all of that, and do their own investigation. They wouldn't tell me what they found, but they would do their own investigation, maybe based on their own findings and all of that. They don't want no somebody filtering in or anything like that. That's what I figure. But I really do commend on them on it. And like I said, I will back off when the Rangers come in and start to investigate these things that are going on. And they're doing it. They're pretty good about it. And they use science to do their investigations. I use the traditional aspect. Think twice, or always be on the upside of what you think's going to happen, and stuff like that. Just the common. Other than that, I'm a common man. That's what I say. I don't think of myself as a celebrity to say, hey, I know this and I know that and all that. I don't do that. As you guys know that, I don't boast myself with these things, because like I said, if you see it, you will know about it. If you don't, then you won't know about it. That's the difference between myself and other people. And then, like I said, I've had my skeptics. First comes my family. Oh, you just saw it, and you think you saw it, and whatever it was just your eye booger that was rolling this way or something like that. They would say things like that. And then there's people that say, oh, did you really see it? You just putting a fire up our they would say things like that. And like I said, I only tell what I have seen, what I have gone through, what I have experienced, what I have encountered. I only talk about that. I don't talk about anything else, like, how it connects to the spiritual and all of that and all of that. And then that's the thing. So I just think of myself as a, regular guy trying to feed his animals. So I tend to my sheep, my goats, my horses, donkey, and my chickens and my duck, and plus my cats and my dogs. And I call my 10 chihuahuas desert piranhas, which was given to me by another guy, another researcher. You're like, you have all those desert piranhas. Yeah, that's what they are. And I noticed that if you have like maybe 5 or more chihuahuas and they get mad or they bark and all of that, first thing you're going to look at is your ankles. And I never seen no husteen anymore. I would let them out and they'll be all like, oh, bunch of noise all at one time. So that's what I call them, my desert piranhas. And they'll chew at the feet until I guess it's all chewed off or something like that. And you could hear before. I used to hear when I take out my chihuahua. On top of that, I would hear boom, 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 something running away. They would know too, even from inside the house. They would know. And here I'll be watching YouTube or TV. I like Star Trek, so I've gone through all the reruns, and then for 3 years now, I've gone through all of that. I'm a Trekkie, so that's the reason why I say, you know, when it comes to UFO, they're gonna teleport me up there, probe me, and throw me back down. You know, I'll be walking around with a glitch or something like that. So,
Glow in the
so
dark.
yeah. So, and then while everybody's running, you know, I'll be hopping. Anyways, as for the little people, I never knew that they moved under my mobile home. And late at night, I would hear something crawling around on the pipes or on the I would hear a boom, like they crawled into a pipe or something like that. Yeah, boom. And then my wife would ask me, "What is that?" I said, "Oh, it's probably just the cats." And then I started. I used to have 18 cats. All of those started disappearing.
Oh.
And I guess they hunted them until, you know, they did away with them. But just before then, I was mad, you know. So I went down below towards the Chuckle Wash, towards the west, where all the cobble rocks are. And I took me a gunny sack. And I guess a pair of gloves. Went down there, and I caught me a big bull snake, the black and yellow one. Put it in the gunny sack. Then I looked for another one. I found another one. That one was much bigger. Another bull snake. And I brought him back up here. Then as I was pretending to be like that Doom on Conan, as it poked its head out to crawl out, when I put that gunny sack on the ground, I put it up by the crack of the foundation and the skirting, and I told him, "Go seek." And then they pushed it in there, and it crawled in there. Then I told the second one that, "Seek, go find some food." And went in there, and I guess they got eliminated. I don't know. All those little people, because I have pictures of those too.
Jeez.
And here, one running towards the camera, two of them running away from the camera, and all of that, and all of that. But before then, I was asleep, and my wife went on a seminar or something like that. I was asleep on the bed, and I had my arm like hanging off the bed like this, you know, all straight out like this. I was laying on my shoulder, and I have one of those real bright clocks, kind of greenish. Anyways, that was behind me at my foot, and I was laying in the room, in the master bedroom, and what woke me up was my thumb. Something grabbed me like this, and my eyes just opened up and looked at it. And I was, like I said, I was laying away from that bright light. And here, I seen this little whatever it is, 14 inches or something like that. It wasn't that tall. Climb up real slowly. It had, I remember, it had 3 sticks with it, and it was carrying it like this, and then it had the sticks, like that, and all that. But they were tall, like maybe for their own size, it'll be like the size of a spear. And it stepped over my arm, like from here to here. It stepped over it. Eek, eek. And I just I was just looking at it. And then it stopped right there. Maybe the tone of my breath got different. I don't know. But I was just looking at it. And here it looked at me kind of like, and then eyes just went like this, and it was trying to focus in on my face as I was looking up at it. And we were both looking at each other. And then it kind of like made it, I think, I say it was a grin, or maybe it was like, yeah, like, like that, or smiling or something like that. But I thought it was a grin with his teeth showing, but it was looking at me like, it went like this. It had bushy hair, and the only thing that was covered was his loins right here. And or it might have been hairy or all over or something, but I thought it was. Anyways, I looked at it and I said, it took off real fast. It took off over my arm, down, jumped off the bed, and it sounded like a mice going by the wall into the walk-in closet. And I thought, said, that was it. Next morning, I woke up and I thought, where would it have disappeared? I know I seen a little guy out here. And I started to look around. Here, I have a chair inside my walk-in closet, directly, right in front of me as you walk in. I moved that to the side. And here, I guess either they cut it or gnawed it or something like that. Real, sideways, like you're slicing a fish, you're filleting a fish. They did that, and there was a 8-inch entrance from there. I opened it and I looked down in there, and I could see the bottom of my trailer. I was like, whoa. So I went and closed it back up, put tape on it, stapled it. And that was it. And afterwards, that's when, I thought, oh, crap. I'm going to go get me something that will take care of him. So I got those bull snakes and put them under my house. And then it cleared it out. And that was it. Even I used to find scorpions down there. Thank goodness that they didn't go in my house. It used to be lizards down there. It cleaned it all out, those 2 bull snakes. And they moved off somewhere.
So these little people, were they let's say a comparison, like the size of a man to the roof of the house? Do you think that's the how small the thing was compared to the bed?
Yeah.
Tent? So it's like literally a human jumping off a house and running off, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
Just jumping off and then taking off. It was like that. Now I was surprised. Hey, and I told my wife, we have little people. She even got more scared. So then, that's what I noticed. So I stopped telling her. Then when she would ask me, "Where are you going?" I'm going outside. What are you doing with your rifle, your 22 piece shooter? I'm going to shoot somebody's ankle. It's like that. And I've been asked, "We don't believe you that you shoot at these Bigfoot." I said, "Well, you may not believe me that I shoot at them, but I shoot where it will hurt if I see one." Because one was inside my trash dump on the other side, on the south side, and it ran away like this. And I shot at it. That's when it took off. It was gone. But as I spotlighted it, it was running like, or rather like this, like straight up in the air. And when I shot at it, it took off. It just went. The arms came down, and that was it. It was gone into the darkness. And they came around anytime they wanted to come around. They weren't scared of me. So that was that. That's the Bigfoot, and then also the Littlefoot. I don't know what happened to them. Maybe they got all eaten, or they got scared, or something like that. I would figure for little people, for being a little person, and you see a bull snake, which is like maybe 3-inch big and about maybe 21 inches long. That would be looking like an anaconda. I'm just figuring. I just thought about it like that.
Interesting. We're fellas, we are running low on time. Looks like we're gonna have to schedule a part 3 for sure.
Right.
Randy, thank you for them stories and your time here. Darren, what were you gonna say? Go ahead.
I was gonna ask Randy, when was the last Bigfoot encounter he had? What was the latest one? But we can always
They
say that.
still come around. They still come around, tap on my window, or knock on my back of the house. Boom. And all my chihuahuas, they put their teeth in, and then we all run out. They're them barking, and I'm yelling, and then we all run out and all of that. I haven't even told a story about me hammering away, building my horse corral, and one of them came up from way in the back, and the Yanny. We'll talk about the Yanny then. All of that, yeah, because I've been close to them. I know what they are, and people will say that these Bigfoot dog food, they have other dimensions and all of that. I just seen them hide real fast, real good. I just seen them like that. I didn't see them like poke themselves or anything like that. That's probably an alien. That's what I would say.
Or a
But
trickster.
then, yeah, and all of that, and then it would be just something that we haven't found yet. Because I was looking at YouTube one time, and there's these things that are cloaked like the predator, walking against or walking towards these two people, and it was growling, and I was like, "What? Ah, that's CG." I said, "I didn't see that. I never saw that. This thing would just jump, flop on the ground, and then push up, walk all the way through all the bushes and get up way up there somewhere." That's what I thought. That's the way I see it. I don't see dimensions. I don't see cloaking. I don't see all of that. I try not to say that they're paranormal.
What about mind speak?
Mind speak in zine.
Oh yeah, same thing. Yes.
Same thing. That's the way I understand the Inzine. And I locked eyes with one when it was like maybe 200 feet away. I locked eyes with him, and it was standing, and I was standing over here too, and then we just like we were looking at each other, and it felt to me, I felt like it said, "What?" All I said was in Navajo, "Stay away from me. I will eat you." Because that comes from the old traditional protection way of psyching yourself out. That's the thing. And that's what I said. And in other words, Yeitso used to say that to people. Don't look at me, I'm going to eat you. Or if I find you, I'm going to eat you. Yeitso. That came from Yeitso. So I would say that that's what I was told when I was growing up. And like you said, where this thing followed me while I was running and all of that, those are all in the teachings like that. When you encounter something out there, you tell them to eat, that you're going to eat them. Pretend that you're Yeitso. Don't get scared. Don't back off. Just stand your ground. Maybe take a couple steps forward and say that, and then you're good to go. That's what I was told as I was going through my warrior training, as I call it. But it almost caught me though. That thing almost caught me. That baboon, whatever it was. All that. Let's have another one from the audience. Another question. It's probably a lot of questions. Some people probably saying, "Yeah, right, Randy."
We got one right now before we can close up. Wait, we'll do two. Say Crazy Coyote 1313 says, "How was your time on Sasquatch Chronicles like that time you got interviewed?"
At that time, I was new. I really didn't know how to relay my messages, how to describe things, and all of that. And I forget Wes. I think his name was Wes. Was interviewing me. I didn't even know I was on Sasquatch Chronicles. I thought I was on a different podcast. But I did that, and here, I need to see him again, Wes. All that, if he's listening, or all of that. But I was new. I was new that time.
Hmm. Awesome, awesome. And we got another question for you. The Cedric Willie 8381. Hey caveman, have you ever met Leonard Dan?
Leonard Dan, I met him in Aztec when we were going through finding Bigfoot. Um, and that one, I met him there, and then from that time on, I never seen him again. I want to see him again. I want to talk with him. Compare, because that's what we do as researchers. We compare. What did you see? What did you think? And then how did you see it? Things like that. Just like the questions that you guys are asking, and these people that are asking.
Mhm. I think Leonard Dan, I'm not sure how many years ago he left. Leonard Dan.
Oh, is that right?
Um, yeah, yes, a few years ago. I'm not quite sure. I wish I got to meet him. Another question for you. Um, uh, will you be at the Dulce meeting in August 14th to the 17th?
Avery hasn't even talked to me about it.
Oh, okay. I'll remind him. See what we got going on, because if I'm going that way, I wouldn't mind. I can scoop you up on the way out there to Dulce Apache Reservation.
Mhm.
Yep. Yes, sir. That's what we got going on in the future, but definitely I think next week we'll see if the next guest is going to confirm if they're going to come or not, but we definitely want to bring you back for a third, fourth time, 10th time. So Darren, now we already look up to you, and we're going to work with you in the future and collaborate more and learn off of you for sure. So guys, we're running low on time here. Randy, is there any shout outs you want to say hi to anybody out there listening?
Yeah, I always like to say, shout out to the people if they're listening from New Zealand. I have a lot of friends out there, and also these strange places that I know. Kazakhstan, Russia, Germany, some from Canada, and all of that, and the United States also. And most of all, shout out to all the Navajos that have encountered, all these things. And I say about 65% on the reservation has seen what I have seen, and it's just we know how to do that. Biga.
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah, biga nana, yeah, nana. Go ahead, Darren.
Well, from Yazzie to Yazzie and from Yazzie, you are listening to another episode of Don't Whistle at Night. I'd like to thank the audience for tuning in and hearing these stories. Uh, tales, tales of true encounters. Just another day in the life of living with being a Yazzie. It will surprise you. We'll have Randy
Yep.
back on as soon as we can, and we'll complete the cycle again.
Run for the hills, because the Aussie will be back.
Three Aussies together, there will be trouble for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Nana, Randy, yeah, Nana. Like always, people like yourself, especially Randy Caveman Yazzie, is worth more than $1 million, more than money can ever amount to. And for your life and your encounters, thank you for being here. Thank you for being alive, and thank you to your parents for making you, because we all look up to you, and we're not the only Navajos that know of you. So there's many Navajos out there that know Randy Caveman Yazzie for sure. So I'm gonna be closing out the show, guys. You guys want to say laters one more time?
Later.
Hit me up on Cash App. All I need is gas money to go out to do my researches.
Hey, right there.
Oh, hey, send me your what do you call it? Your tag thingy. Then we can share that for sure. We can share that on the channel. Get
Okay,
you some
yeah.
help for sure. Be
I thought I put it
Definitely.
on my my what do you call it? That thing I filled out. I'm old fashioned. I don't really know about technology.
All right. Same.
That's why I'm afraid of aliens.
They're gonna merge you with technology. I think that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Saying that, help a Yazzie get to the meeting, food, lodging, and gas money.
Yep.
We record all the stories out there when we get out there ourselves.
Yep. And I just thought about a whole bunch of other things that philosophically, how it pertains to these Husteen and Maitso. And they call it a Nasaza, but I don't think it's a Nasaza, the little people.
Oh yeah, I've heard that too. There's many different types of little people, and
Yes.
the jury's still out on them. The one I seen it had elf ears and a pointy nose, like when you said sticking out straight. It wasn't curved; it was pointing out, and it had its own style of clothing. That and Hell Cheetah. But I think if we all come together, we all can exchange notes and ideas and evidence. I'm pretty sure we can get closer on pinpointing what kind of little people we got on the reservation. I know we got gnomes, so that's one thing to toss out there.
Yep.
So, yep. All right,
Yeah.
guys, I'm gonna bring this in for landing right now. So, all right.
Go in it.
Thank you.
Go in it.
Go ahead.
All right. Thank you guys. All right. Thank you for tuning into Don't Whistle at Night. We have been broadcasting live here on the United Public Radio Network, 107.7 FM in New Orleans. I'm your host, Don Yazzie.
Co-host Darren Yazzie.
Yep. And then Randy Caveman Yazzie right here. From us to all of you out there, take it easy. You guys stay lovely. And remember, don't whistle at night. See you guys.
Welcome to Don't Whistle at Night podcast, where Navajo legends echo in the shadows. Darren and Dawn will guide you through the sacred fire of native storytelling, where the old stories breathe, the unknown walks among us, and voices, long hidden, rise to be heard. And remember, don't whistle at night.